The least Raila Odinga should settle for in the wake of this bipartisan talks, it is either you go for mediated talks akin to that of 2008, or you drop the discussion about bipartisan talks and pursue the other alternatives, other options available. Welcome to the Bold Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Mutahi Ngunyi recently made a tweet, and he said that William Ruto has been erecting injunctions in this bipartisan process, and knowing very well he actually put Adan Canaan there on a provocative ground, a provocative card, knowing very well that he wanted to stagger the bipartisan talks. And I agree that unless Raila Odinga sees and Azimio la Umoja sees the bigger picture, this is not going to see the light of the day. Today, in a press briefing, Raila has confirmed that last week, William Ruto and the team reached out to them, and unanimously they agreed that they were going to stop the Thursday mass action so that they will allow the executive to welcome the guests, the international, the foreign dignitaries that were in the country, and there was commitment to adhere to the rules of the game, or rather to that mass action. True to that, I listened to Tharaka Nithi, member of parliament, saying they were willing to cede ground, and he was talking in Spice FM. They were willing to cede ground. Now today, as we speak, Raila is saying that the committee has been organized in the way that there are two co-chairs, and then with a technical advisor. William Ruto has picked a lawyer, is advising his team, and Raila Odinga has also picked Paul Mwangi on the other side of Azimio la Umoja side. And so William Ruto is saying that, Raila Odinga is saying that the government side has chickened out. There's a meeting that was supposed to be held, that probably tomorrow, and Otiende Amolo is communicating that the other side are saying that members are unavailable and the process cannot kick off on Wednesday. This makes me remember something that William Ruto team insisted, that they wanted the talks to take 3 months, while Raila Odinga and the team demanded the talks to take 1 month. Now, the irony here is William Ruto wants only one thing to be discussed in that committee, the issue of IBC, but he wants it to take 3 months. Raila Odinga wants all the other factors, the server, the IBC, and all the other issues addressed, but within the 1 month. The framework here is that it will be adopted, then amendment process will start for those ones that need constitutional amendments. As we talk, the government side technically are withdrawing from the bipartisan talks. That is according to what Raila Odinga, the vector Raila Odinga, is pointing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say here, and I insisted that from the very first day this issue of bipartisan talks started, I disapproved that William Ruto and the team were never committed to its fruition, actualization of that. And of course, they've just been trying to buy time with it and to manage people's expectations. It is time for the Azimio la Umoja to stop everything and tell William Ruto and the government side that because you've shown intent not to be committed in this, we are looking out for mediated talks so that we bring a neutral arbiter that can bring everyone to order. I want to believe that even the choice of those who are to be picked, one of the issues that had to be there is commitment. These are not the members that you're supposed to send, that President William Ruto is supposed to fly with. I understand some members of this committee actually went with William Ruto in the foreign trips. How could he really fly with some members who are supposed to be part of this committee in those foreign trips? or even in terms of selectiveness, even in parliament, how did Moses Masika Wetangula allow members of that bipartisan committee on the government side or on either side to fly out of the country? Because the truth is, before you are even allowed to leave the country, you must always be approved by the Speaker of the National Assembly. You must be approved by the Speaker in the Parliamentary Service Commission. The employer of the MPs is actually Parliamentary Service Commission. So we need to look at this in a broader perspective. It is clear signal that the government sides are not committed to bipartisan talks. And what is bringing this, I want to show you some observations I'm making here. I think the government side is feeling like the only political tool of political agitation Azimio la Umoja were using is the mass action. And from their school of thought, looking at how the last mass action was done, they never came out and celebrated that it was low-key. Technically, the fact that Raila did not come out, remember his security was withdrawn, and I think they had even planned, I think the negotiations had started to make sure that even that one for the Tuesday was supposed to be cancelled. The fact that Raila did not come out might have been understood within the security corridors that the mass action has successfully been suppressed. And number two, the last mass action we saw some two buses, a bus and a trailer burnt by people I believe, to date I still believe were actually goons that were hired by the government side. I totally believe so. If you listen to that bus driver saying that Vituzake, the bus was burnt while the police were actually watching, that paints a clear picture. And even looking at how the UDA side has reacted, you know them as people that would have castigated the ODM and the Azimio side using that, but they've kept quiet. That tells you that the goon strategy was unleashed. And Raila played poker with them. They unleashed the goons in the morning. Then Azimio la Umoja did not come out. They actually came out in the afternoon, and Raila Odinga was not even in that convoy. So why Ruto is tossing Raila is because maybe in the corridors, someone is is advising the state that the mass action has been suppressed, because that was the most lethal tool, probably, that the Azimio wing were having. But I think that is a bit of underestimation of the problem, because as we talk, there is clear rebellion against the budget policy statements that were released that are supposed to be read in Parliament. Parliament is supposed to discuss it, and there is a clear public uproar from the Kenyan civil servants that are crying about it. Imagine if people are crying about the taxes now and a mass action is called and someone says holiday. How many people get to work? Even the civil servants themselves, there are quite a number that have said if their demands are not met, they might also consider industrial action. So that advice is temporary. But I also do believe that I don't think the Azimio la Umoja were so much obsessed with this mass action. It's just a tool of political agitation. The second thing why Raila must go for mediated talks is because Ruto is smelling referendum. And I want to say and repeat here, a president, especially here in Kenya, we have a history of a president in his first term will always oppose any political mobilization scheme amidst his term. We saw that with Mwai Kibaki, and the lesson was with Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki tried it, and Raila went away and formed ODM, and 2007 became very difficult. Let's say it as it is. And Raila defeated him in 2007. In the first term, Uhuru Kenyatta, against when Raila Odinga started Okoa Kenya was squashed. But in the second term, the BBI saw the light of the day. So William Ruto knows very well that whatever is happening in that bipartisan talks, if it will not, by all indication, the more the bipartisan talks, the direction the bipartisan talks is taking, there are going to be proposals, because when you open it up to other players or other politicians or other stakeholders to come in and give their input, Raila will send in some of people, organizations that are leaning towards the opposition, civil society organizations. Civil society organizations will push for a constitutional review process. Remember, they have a chair that is on both sides this time. So at the end of the day, they can get proposals that can get to referendum, and that is what Raila doesn't. That's what William Ruto doesn't want. So he's chickening out of this because he wants to stagger it. It's just, for him, it's just a vehicle to control the Azimio wing. The other third observation I'm making here is, there is a raid on Uhuru Kenyatta, and especially the ugly Kanini Kega, the stupid Kanini, the stupid coup on Jubilee Party, in the Jubilee Party. It is deemed as, maybe, the strategy, one of the things why is there, Uhuru is sought after, is because there is a perception he's funding Azimio la Umoja. So with the latest change of positions, maybe those who believed that Raila was speaking because of Uhuru Kenyatta could be feeling like they've kept Uhuru Kenyatta and so Raila is controlled. But that's again another wrong assumption, because I don't think people are coming out on the mass action, especially the April one. I don't think it was boiled up because Uhuru Kenyatta called people. I don't think. It was the voice of Raila Odinga and the other Azimio team. Lastly, the only demand that William Ruto is lethal on him is the demand open the server. So the moment Azimio la Umoja dropped the open the server narrative, and I listened even to Raila saying in the coast, he was in Shakahola saying, I just want the server to be opened. I don't mean to chase William Ruto from power. I just want the server to be open so that we can reconcile with the truth. The moment the server issue is dropped, I think the government side are seeing nothing more. That's the threat. Probably with the gimmicks, political gimmicks around Unga, they're feeling like they've managed the population. But I don't think it is temporary reprieve. And I believe this bipartisan thing is a trash. If it can be mediated by someone, international figure, then I believe that will be it. But if it is left by the politicians that are meeting at night to look at how they can do, the president carrying members of that committee in the foreign trips to make sure that it is jeopardized, then I don't think Raila stands a chance. I think you just leave it, withdraw that team, and go back to the drawing board, pursue the other options that are available, if indeed they're there. That's my take.